Hello and welcome to the Movie Flick Recap. Eddie is my name. I'm going to explain the movie Zom-100, Bucket List of the Dead, 2023. Akira is fleeing a horde of nasty flesh-eating zombies in a Tokyo residential complex. Akira, on the other hand, is more concerned with getting to work on time than with his life. This all started with Akira's first job a year ago. Akira is still full of dreams and passion when he joins an advertising firm. His co-workers embrace him enthusiastically and even throw him a small welcome supper at a restaurant, and Akira soon develops feelings for his senior colleague, Otori, leading him to believe that this could be the best workplace ever. His illusion is swiftly broken when he is forced to pull 2 all-nighters in a row and return home on the first day. Akira's plight worsens by the day, almost as if he were a living corpse. His exploitative boss, Kosugi, burns him out with his enormous workload, and the workplace quickly becomes Akira's home because he doesn't leave most of the time. Because he needs the money, he can't even consider resigning, and Akira gradually transforms into a working zombie who loses his free will in the toxic environment of his office. Only his crush, Otori, treats him well. However, Akira expresses his admiration for her work ethic and the fact that she appears to be doing what she enjoys. Otori claims that this is not the case for her and that what they genuinely want to do falls by the wayside. Akira manages to find some spare time one evening to go out to dinner with his best friend, Kensho, who used to play football with Akira in college. Kensho believes Akira should resign and refers to him as a corporate dog. In response, Akira reminds Kensho of how he was the reason they lost huge games in college. An argument occurs, and the friend is not pleased. Akira eventually falls into profound despair, and his residence becomes a shambles. When he's at the railway station, he thinks about ending everything for himself. A year after starting at the office, Akira discovers his neighbor on the ground outside, but when Akira turns around, he sees that the man has turned into a zombie and is in the middle of devouring another neighbor. Terrified, Akira continues sprinting upstairs as additional zombies appear to pursue him, sometimes emerging from nearby apartments, concerned about being late. Akira reaches the roof and hops over a fence, leaving the zombies on the other side. While a burning plane soars over on its way to crash in the distance. Akira observes the pandemonium that has engulfed the city and understands that he does not have to go to work. This makes him so happy that he does a little dance, wondering what he will do with his newfound free time. At that point, he recalls Otori and sends her a message to see whether she is alright. In exchange, she provides him with her location and invites him to come over. Akira then exits the building through an open window by climbing down a pipe. He meets a pregnant woman and her husband and pledges to return with food for them before continuing his descent on his bicycle. Akira manages to speed along the road, escaping every zombie that tries to catch up with him. He arrives at Otori's apartment moments later, finding her afraid and clinging to him. At that point, Otori admits to having an affair with the company's director. Who are they right now? And he's already turned into a zombie. The director attacks right away, but Otori is unable to move because her leg is injured. As a result, Akira begins attacking the undead. Akira utilizes his football training to tackle the director and fling him against the furniture after some struggle. Tori uses this opportunity to hit the zombie till he dies while shouting at him for not leaving his wife as promised. Otori collapses to the floor, and after a brief seizure, her body transforms into a zombie as well. She tries to attack Akira, but he quickly pushes her away before she can bite. Then Akira admits his sentiments towards her before fleeing. Akira returns to his building, closing the door behind him to prevent her from following him in the evening, but when he stops by the neighbor's home, he finds it empty and covered with blood. He returns to his flat in tears, but as he mourns for his neighbors, he recalls Otori telling him that what they truly want to do is constantly put on the back burner. Akira believes he may die soon and that he does not want to die without having accomplished what he truly desires. So he picks up a notebook and begins a list headed 100 things to do before turning into a zombie. The first is telling someone he loves them, and he has already crossed it off his list. Akira wakes up the next morning full of vigor and begins working on the list. He begins by cleaning his apartment. Then he goes to the supermarket to buy all the pricey items he has never been able to afford. There are a few zombies about, but he avoids them by riding the trolley. He then dyes his hair, but after experimenting with various hues, he decides to keep with his natural black. He also paints his portrait on the side of a building and finds a bike that he rides at full speed through the city. In the evening, he shoots off a volley of fireworks near the Tokyo Tower to commemorate his new life. Days pass as Akira continues to add items to the list. On the 5th day, he has a barbecue on his building's roof while ignoring the zombies on the other side of the fence. He finds he's out of spices just as he's ready to have his meal, so he walks to the supermarket to get some. Suddenly, a figure wearing a helmet appears and begins beating him up, only stopping when Akira points out that he is not a zombie. The individual then removes the helmet, revealing a gorgeous woman called Shizuka to Akira. They're talking when they hear a man outside asking for aid. Akira rushes out to throw objects at the zombie chasing the man, but his efforts are ineffective. Shizuka fights the zombie as he enters the market, displaying impressive talents. When a second zombie appears, she simply puts him at bay by tossing a little alarm device, indicating that zombies are drawn to sound. Akira is impressed and encourages Shizuka to stay with him, but she declines, noting that Akira's desire to save people will only bring danger his way. Following that, Akira returns to his flat, and browsing through images of his college days makes him concerned about his friend. He adds something to the list and then phones Kensho, who is still human but in difficulty. He's trapped in a hotel room. Because the quarters are infested with zombies, the girl he imprisoned to commit the deed is infected as well. Akira swears to save him, and after removing his old football jersey, he speeds away on his bike, escaping all the zombies on the streets. Some zombies tried to grab the back wheel, but Akira knocked them off with a fast spin. Meanwhile, Kensho attempts to flee the chamber, only to be pursued by a zombie swarm. He rushes back inside, but hearing the zombie slam the door brings back memories of the day he failed the big game, which placed him on the verge of a nervous collapse. Returning to Akira, he discovers the hotel street. He tosses a speaker on the ground and starts playing music, leading all the zombies to swarm around it. Akira then uses his football skills to avoid and jump over any remaining zombies, even pushing a few of them away. He enters the hotel after jumping on the roofs of a few cars and tackling another zombie before searching for Kensho in the room. Kensho notices the silence and opens the door to find the corridor vacant. When Akira appears, both pals apologize to each other before more zombies attack. The guys dash to the roof and use a ladder to barricade the entryway. Finally able to flee, the pair hides in a luxury restaurant and shares an incredible meal, during which Kensho discovers the list. He realizes the final piece is reconciling with his best buddy and expresses gratitude to Akira for saving everyone. This sparks an idea in Akira. He now wishes to become a superhero to save humans from the zombies, but Kensho reminds him that Akira lacks powers. Kensho subsequently sees on the news that Tokyo is turning into hell on Earth and suggests that they depart. Akira agrees and suggests that they visit the Marine Paradise Aquarium in Ibaraki because they offer a special diving program. The tooth that protects the body from sharks should also protect Akira from zombies and serve as his superhero armor. After that, they go to a market to acquire supplies, but they see a group of humans fleeing from the zombies. Unfortunately, most of them are slain, but Akira attracts the attention of two flight attendants, a bus driver, and Shizuka, whose skills cannot protect her from such a large crowd. The group rushes into the store and rips down the shutter, severing the hand of a zombie in the process. Everyone is grateful for the rescue, except for the bus driver, who is hiding his bitten hand. Then they gather a large number of things and prepare a small dinner for many. Akira's bucket list item is to have a drink with a flight attendant, but when he tries to flirt with them, they ignore him in favor of Kensho. Both women depart with Kensho to be naughty in private, while Akira attempts to converse with Shizuka, who discovers he cut his hand with a shutter. She takes care of it right away, admitting that she used to study to be a doctor. At that point, the bus driver transforms into a zombie and pursues Akira and Shizuka. When he hears the trio having a good time, he decides to go after them instead. The driver manages to assault and bite one of the girls by shocking them from behind. When her buddy tries to assist her, the driver simply turns to her and bites her as well. The driver then begins pursuing Kensho, and when Akira offers to assist him, Shizuka decides to abandon them because she is better at living on her own. Shizuka, on the other hand, discovers a radio and uses it to distract the zombie, allowing a remedy to save Kensho. Shizuka hurries to the door as the driver is stuck on the radio, but she can't lift the shutter by herself, and the zombified girls soon locate her. She uses a basket to push all the zombies away while the boys arrive to lift the shutter, but they too are unable to open it. Kensho rushes to light a load of fireworks after seeing Shizuka fighting all the zombies at the same time, which distracts the monsters and allows Akira to rescue Shizuka. The trio then collaborates to open the shutter, and the boys rush inside an RV. Shizuka first refuses to join them, but as the zombies pursue them and she is unable to drive, she has no alternative but to accompany them. The trio will soon be out of town. Their aim is the aquarium, but they stop frequently to do things like untether dogs and acquire supplies, and Kencho even dyes Akira's hair. They go paragliding, cook on a bonfire, and light more fireworks after being asked to do items from his list, such as SUP yoga, which ends with Kencho falling into the sea. They avoid the zombies when they come across a hotel with hot springs and spend the night there. They enjoy the warm water, a hot sake, and the beautiful view of the firefly-filled sky. The trio ultimately arrives at the aquarium the next day, but the RV abruptly slides off the road and smashes, causing the trio to lose consciousness. The road is then revealed to be covered in spikes. Akira awakens moments later to the sound of someone yelling his name, and he's surprised to see his old boss Kasugai there. It turns out that all of the survivors from Tokyo are hiding here, including Akira's next-door neighbors. They developed a colony and are now collaborating to survive inside the aquarium that has become their castle. The survivors are organized into teams to do the various jobs, and Kosugi is the community's leader who keeps everyone on their toes. They also have a few trucks that go to the city to get supplies and to prevent other individuals from robbing the vehicles. Akira is astonished to encounter zombies in the area. There are a lot of them outdoors, behind fences. A guard uses a megaphone to gain their attention when they require them to move. Kencho and Shizuka are already pitching in, and Kazuki invited Sakura to join them. Akira hesitates because he wants to complete his bucket list, but Katsuki convinces him to stay because it is safer for his friends. Later, over dinner, Kencho becomes enraged when he notices Kasuga and his close friends eating lavishly while the rest of the survivors only get limited rations. To make matters worse, the boss's gang handles Akira as if it were a servant. Kencho wants to attack them, but his husband stops him since misbehavior can bring down the entire team. Kencho and Shizuka then share their lunch with a pregnant woman for the baby to be healthy as a thank you. The spouse demonstrates how Kencho and Shizuka can sneak out to the parking lot. Kencho inspects the RV, but the tires are destroyed. Akira keeps working hard, but he soon feels like a zombie slave again. Meanwhile, in the city, a truck driver is distracted by a cigarette and fails to notice a zombie entering the truck with the goods. Later, the truck returns to the aquarium, and the zombie jumps out and bites the driver as soon as he opens the door. The guard tries to flee. With the entrance open, a horde of zombies begins to enter. As people flee like wild animals in the aquarium, the zombies begin biting every survivor they can get their hands on. Soon after, some of the zombies arrive at the shark exhibition and fall into the ocean, where they are all eaten by sharks. Meanwhile, Kencho and Shizuka demonstrate to Akira that they have repaired the RV and stolen some supplies to leave. Akira, on the other hand, points out that this location is safer and decides to stay. Shizuka discovers the bucket list when Akira returns inside, and she sees it after witnessing all the events they've done together. Becoming a superhero has not yet been crossed off the list. Kosugi is yelling at everyone within the aquarium since he's noticed there are individuals missing and work needs to be done. Shizuka cuts in to talk to Akira, pointing out that living like this isn't truly living and that they're like zombies without the bite. She also shows Akira his bucket list, which reminds him of how much he despised working for Kosugi and how much he enjoyed having fun during the apocalypse. Kosugi suddenly snatches the list and throws it on the ground, finally causing Akira to react. He throws Kosugi to the ground and gets the list, before declaring his resignation. At that point, zombies also arrived in this neighborhood, causing chaos. Shizuki pushes his friends away before fleeing, but Akira tries to help people out. They escape across the passage with the help of his buddies, locking the door behind them before entering the shark exhibition room, where they locate Kasugai. An enraged Kencho grabs him and accuses him of leaving his people, only to be interrupted by a shark leaping from the sea and landing next to him. People were terrified, but Shizuka assured them that sharks could not move on land. However, the shark unexpectedly releases all of the zombie's legs, allowing him to walk on the floor. The group returns to the passageway, only to have the shark obstruct their path by bursting through the wall. Kasugai decides to hide while Akira finds a door and brings everyone inside for protection before closing the door. Kasugi tries to sneak out while the shark pounds on the door, but he produces a noise that draws the shark's attention. Both at the same time. Akira notices Kasugai is missing and expresses his desire to assist him, prompting Kensho to point out that Kazuki deserves what he gets. Akira, on the other hand, does not want anyone to die under his watch because he cannot. Instead, Kensho assists his friend by disclosing the presence of special diving gear in the room. Meanwhile, Kosugi is stumbling along the corridor. When the shark is about to attack, Akira appears in his new superhero outfit and kicks the beast, only for the beast to leap on him and attack. Akira grips the shark's mouth, but instead of assisting him, Kazuki flees. Fortunately, Kensho arrives in a forklift, so Akira moves out of the way to give him room. Kensho pushes the forklift right into the shark, but after some effort, he discovers it's not doing any harm and decides to flee when Akira becomes available. Arrives at the shark exhibition. He discovers Shizuki surrounded by zombies and rushes in to combat them. He manages to defeat a few, but there are far too many, and he soon finds himself encircled. The zombies start biting him, and while they can't break the special suit, it's unpleasant for Akira in the quarter. Kensho is fleeing the shark when he comes across the hole in the wall and chooses to leap through it to attend the exhibition. The shark attempts to follow him, but it is too large and becomes stuck in the hole. Suddenly, music begins to play. Shizuki has brought 2 megaphones to distract the zombies with quick and graceful gestures. She dashes through the horde as it pursues her, and when she reaches the tank's edge, she throws the megaphones behind her. As a result, all of the zombies followed the commotion and fell into the river. When Kasugi attempts to join them, the shark ultimately frees itself and drives the boss away. Akira runs to check on him, and the shark attacks, but Akira stops it with a piece of pipe. The shark, however, is stronger than the pipe and closes its jaws, catching the pipe's hand. Shizuka runs to grab a lantern to acquire its batteries as the shark whips about. Explaining that sharks have ultra-sensitive gear in their heads for identifying prey and that a jolt of electricity can kill it. Kensho grabs the batteries after Shizuka connects them with tape, remembering the football pass he failed in college and concentrating to perform better. This time, Kensho throws the batteries with all of his strength, and they fall safely on Akira's hands just as the shark turns to attack Kensho. Furious, Akira clenches his hand and leaps to smack the shark in the nose, sending a jolt through its body that effectively kills him. Following that, Akira and Shizuka race to check on Kensho, who was found to be perfectly okay. After a few hours, all of the survivors have distributed their provisions and are preparing to depart the aquarium. Kasugi appears to attempt to stop them, but the families are ready to stand up to him, and even his former colleagues call him out for being a terrible boss. Everyone agrees that Akira was a better leader, and they are now ready to go and live a normal life instead of working like zombies. Ignoring Kasugi's wailing, the survivors thank Akira for opening their eyes and driving away. When the trio gets into their RV, Kasugi pretends to be sorry for everything and attempts to join them, but they refuse and leave without him. The 3 companions are now ready to add to their list. Shizuka aspires to be a doctor to save lives, while Kensho aspires to be a comedian to make people laugh. Akira crosses out being a hero and replaces it with becoming a hero before stating they'll keep going until they reach 100. Make sure to subscribe and enable alerts to see more videos like this. Thank you for tuning in.